Hey everybody, good afternoon. This is Stan for the podcast Talking with Friends. I am your host of the podcast Talking with Friends. Excuse my voice. I do have a cold congestion thing going on. I have a 6-year-old son. He was with me pretty much the entire weekend, and Friday I started feeling like something was coming on. By Saturday, I knew it was a little bit more than just an itchy throat. By Sunday, it was here, and it's been walking all basically ever since the weekend. Today we stand at the beginning of, well, I won't say the beginning, I guess I can say, yesterday was election day 2024 for us in America, and the results are in. The candidate who won is now, Donald J. Trump. He got reelected. He was elected about 4 years ago. Went through some things since he had been basically out of office, and a lot of cases were pending. Somehow or another, those cases didn't stick. And I pretty much knew that this was going to happen. I said back in March of this year, April of this year, I said, man, if these cases don't stick and he doesn't end up in jail, like literally doing some real time, I said, oh boy is going to navigate his way through these cases. And sure enough, he's going to be aiming to run for president again. And a lot of people was like, nah, the case is going to stick. They're going to find something. They're going to put him in jail. It's like, man, we'll see. And sure enough, probably by July of this year, June or July of this year, they couldn't stick anything, and he was talking about running. And I said, man, he's going to run. He's going to get through these cases. He's going to run, and he's going to win. And it's going to be the greatest show that America has ever seen, to see a person who came out of the White House, should have walked into a bunch of cases that should have prevented him from running for 2024. But sure enough, dude ran, and his base got him in there, man. And sure enough, he's the president of the United States come January on presidential inauguration day. But what I am seeing is I'm seeing people on the sidelines, social media, saying, this is doom and gloom. It's all going to start. Get your gun, get your weapon. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. If that's the perspective that you want to take, that's fine. But I challenge you as a human living in 2024, a person, whether you be black, white, Asian, American, Filipino, whatever you are. I challenge you to start something, to build something that will educate your people, that will educate your family, that will give your community that you may have insight to make this world better. I mean, because even though we got a new president, even though it's Donald Trump now, that doesn't mean that it stops anything. It doesn't stop you from writing that business plan. It doesn't stop you from getting that LLC. It doesn't stop you from purchasing that property in your neighborhood. It doesn't stop you from writing a book. It doesn't stop you from starting a podcast. It doesn't stop you from doing anything along those lines. So I challenge you to start something, to do something, to build something, and just don't be on the sidelines talking about this doom and gloom thing. Because even if it is going to get tough, we've been in tough times before as far as Americans go, especially as far as African Americans go. We've been here before. And somehow or another, we've navigated and made our way through. Now, the oppression might have been tough for us, but I, for one, think the oppression causes us to show how strong we are. And sometimes we have to recognize how strong we are. But when the oppression is applied, we see it. We can look back and see where at one time we didn't have the right to vote. The push, struggle made that such a sweet victory when we were able to vote. Same thing with women, not being able to vote or not earning equal pay as we sit in 2024 as of right now. That push on the other end of that push will show a great blessing, a great victory. I don't think that the oppression that we receive as African Americans is something that's going to stop us. It never has stopped us. It never has stopped us. If anything, it's made us better. It showed our resilience. We might not have everything together as far as the people go, but at the end of the day, the things that we've encountered that tried to stop us as far as obstacles go, whether it be racism, whether it be systematic racism, whatever it may be, scales not being balanced, you know what I'm saying, whatever it may be that has come up against us, we have always, as a people, persevered and overcome. So I challenge anybody who is looking at today's results and thinking that this is the end, it's going to be terrible, it's only going to go down here from there. No, it's not. It's not. And the person listening to this, you may have your perspective to say, you know, it's going to be doom and gloom, it's going to get terrible, it's going to get worse. But I challenge you to look through another lens. I challenge you to look through the lens of possibilities, you know. I oftentimes think about COVID. COVID was pretty crazy. You know what I'm saying? When it hit, we didn't know what it was, where it came from, still don't know. But I will always remember this. Places, restaurants, grocery stores were not delivering food, were not doing curbside. But when COVID hit, they decided that it's do or die. Either we do curbside, deliver, or whatever we got to do for our customer, or we go out of business and lose money. And it didn't take them long to make that decision on what they had to do and what they were willing to do for the customer. I look at that as a blessing. Some people might say, hey, that's just business being business. No, I look at that as being a blessing. It's a two-way blessing because these restaurants, these businesses, these stores stayed open. They were able to stay open. They didn't risk shutting down, which meant, people losing their jobs. But at the same time, it also was a blessing to the average person who didn't know what COVID was, who didn't know how it would affect them. You know what I'm saying? Who didn't know how they were going to navigate this thing. Going to the grocery store one at a time. Now, we've never done that in the United States. Ever have we ever done that where we weren't able to be amongst people, you know what I'm saying? And with this thing hitting like it did, there had to be something that would work. And I don't think that it was just random that they made a decision to say, hey, we're going to start bringing it out to your car. Even though we have never done this before, we're going to start bringing it out to your car. You'll be able to place your order for your groceries and come to the store and get them. At one time, it was a slim walk with Walmart, but now you think about pre-COVID to post-COVID, every grocery store does it now. Every pharmacy does it now. They bring it out to you. And that's a blessing because everybody didn't have faith that everything was going to be okay. So the fear of that would make people to stay in their homes and not go to the grocery store because they're scared. But the blessing in that also was God pricked the heart of somebody and said, hey, they can come get it at the door. We'll bring it out to the car, or everybody will start delivering. I mean, because I'm pretty sure DoorDash, Grubhub, and all that stuff spiked during COVID, but it wasn't. It was something that wasn't really that strong in play before COVID hit. And I just look at that as grace. I look at that as mercy. Some people might not look at it like that, but I look at it as that. I look at it as God's hand in that. And that's the thing. Sometimes we have to stop with our perspective and look at the hand of God in it. You know what I'm saying? These things don't catch him by surprise. Just like the results from last night, the election didn't catch him by surprise. The question is, what do you have your faith at? Do you have your faith in man, or do you have your faith in God? And at the end of the day, I think that's what it all boils down to. But I challenge anybody that is listening to this. If you feel like it's doom and gloom, and it's all over. I challenge you to create something. It doesn't cost anything to start a podcast. It doesn't start you anything. It doesn't cost you anything to start a YouTube channel, to start discussing, whether it be with your homeboys, your homegirls, your friends, a couple of members of your family, to start kicking around some ideas to turn this thing into something that could grow and could be handed down to somebody else in your family, the next generation, that could possibly bring them into a better place financially, or just bring them into a better place knowledge-wise, instead of you standing on the sidelines saying that, basically the sky's falling. Because it's not. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. There's been times where we've seen way worse than this. If you don't believe me, ask your grandparent. Ask somebody who's been here on this planet longer than you've been here on this planet. And I'm pretty sure they'll echo the fact that we've seen tough times before. We've seen things get rough for us before, but we've persevered. I can recall my own personal life. My mother, a single parent, raised me and my two sisters. We saw rough times, we saw tight times, we saw obstacles, but at the same time, I'm here talking to you today. My two sisters, if I put them on, they'll talk to you today. They graduated from high school, all three of us. We graduated from college, all three of us, and we're alive, and we're well. And if anything, the obstacles will make you stronger. They will show you what you can do when pressure is applied to you. So I just challenge anybody that is listening to this today to go build something. It doesn't cost you anything to build something. It doesn't cost you anything to build a following. It doesn't cost you anything to build a YouTube channel. It doesn't cost you anything to build a podcast. I literally was starting this podcast. I was looking at all the tools and things I would need to utilize to build a podcast. And to be honest with you, the tools that I use are free. Now, it could be perfected, absolutely. But to get it out there into the world, it doesn't cost anything. So I challenge you to build something. I challenge you to start something. I challenge you to create something that people can grow from, that they can learn from. And if you have an opinion, stick your opinion in there and let other people hear your opinion. Stick your opinion right in there. This will be your platform to say what you want to say, to cast your ideas, to cast your opinions. But I also challenge you to listen. Listen to people, because some people have been here longer than you, and they'll tell you that whether this be a tough time that we're getting ready to head in or not, we've been through some tough times, not just African Americans, but people as a whole. We've seen some tough times. But one thing I have seen when it comes to people, humans, there is a component of resilience that will not die. I'll never forget the day when those towers came down in New York City, and how it felt, the gravity of how that just felt like our nation had been attacked. The United States had been attacked. We had never seen anything like that before. Never felt the gravity of that. It was on every news station. It was the topic of discussion for at least the remainder of that year and going into the next year. And even up until now, we just passed the anniversary back in September. Just the magnitude of that. And you would think that humans would settle down and not get back to normal. But if you go to New York City right now, hustle and bustle, going 2024, like it didn't happen. We remember that it happened, but we persevered past it. We kept going. There's always going to be some type of obstacle that comes up. The question is, are you going to have it set you down, or are you going to keep going? And just know that that's part of the journey. So I challenge you to create something. I challenge you to build something that your family can learn from, build something that your family can grow from, build something that your family can earn from. I challenge you to do that. I challenge you to get off of your perspective of doom and gloom and create something that impacts the world that we live in right now. I challenge you to do that, because it's not over. Nowhere in the Bible, nowhere in the Quran, nowhere in the in any book says that it ends right now, today, 2024. It doesn't end with anybody being in the White House or anything along the lines of that. But the challenge is, what are you going to do? What are you doing? What are you doing? If there's one component I can take away from Donald Trump, and I was watching an interview of him on, this was years ago, he was on Charlie Rose, and he wasn't nowhere near thinking about becoming president. But there's one component that I can take from him and take from this that just happened. The resilience that even when he's down, he's not out. Even when he's down, he's not out. I mean, and he told a story on the Charlie Rose interview. And like I said, this was probably 1990, maybe 1989. And he was given basically that speech of a lot of people who were in his arena when it came to investing and building the Trump Towers. They didn't believe in him. They were against him. And he was like, once it got built and people were actually coming to it and staying in it and spending money in it, he was like, basically, I felt some type of way towards those people because you didn't believe that me being in the position that I was in, he said at the time, they were looking at him being bankrupt and they was thinking like, you're not going to be able to do it. So I'm pretty sure that everybody has stood in that position where somebody has said, you're not going to be able to do this, or you're not going to be able to bounce back from that, or you're not going to be able to come back from that obstacle. So if there's one thing that I can take from the man, is that resilience and relationship building is out of this world. And I think we should take that component from him. But I ain't saying you got to love the man. I'm not saying that you even had to vote for him. What I am saying is, you should recognize that he does have some things with him that would work if you would adopt him. Relationship building, resilience. A lot of people run into an obstacle and they just stop what they were doing and completely not touch it again. But the man kept getting up. Relationship building. There's not a lot of people who want to deal with other people. They'd rather cut you off than to deal with you. But you don't get anywhere in life without building relationships with people. So I do challenge you, whether you don't stand on the sideline and scream this doom and gloom, it's all over, you know what I'm saying? Be smart and let's start building. Let's start building. Let's start creating. Once again, this is your host, Stan, of the podcast, Talking with Friends. I ask that you forgive me for this cold, this nasal, this sinus thing that's going on with me. I do have a cold, but I hope that you guys have an amazing day. I hope that you gain something from this episode of Talking with Friends. Usually I would have somebody on talking with me, but today it kind of was on me today as soon as I woke up. So I don't mean to be on my soapbox, but at the same time, I do challenge you to do something in these times because it's not over. It's not over. Once again, this is Stan from the podcast Talking with Friends. You guys have a great, great day, and I will see you on the next episode.